The stone and the giant. The valley of Elah stretched wide and silent, save for the heavy, rhythmic clank of bronze plates. On the ridge of Soko, the Israelite army huddled behind their shields, their hearts frozen in their chests. For 40 days, the Philistines had sent their champion forward to mock them, and for 40 days, King Saul and his men had found no answer. He stood nearly 10 feet tall, a mountain of raw muscle and engineered terror. Goliath of Gath wore a coat of scale armor weighing 5,000 shekels of bronze, a brilliant, blinding sheet of metal that caught the harsh morning sun. Greaves of bronze protected his shins, and a javelin of bronze hung slung across his massive shoulders. The shaft of his spear was like a weaver's beam, tipped with an iron head weighing 600 shekels. Before him marched a shield-bearer, a human anchor carrying a massive barrier that made the giant look like an approaching fortress. Goliath planted his spear in the dirt, threw back his head, and let out a roar that shook the dry brush of the valley floor. "Why do you come out and line up for battle?" His voice boomed, rich and echoing off the canyon walls. "Am I not a Philistine, and are you not the servants of Saul? Choose a man for yourselves, and let him come down to me. If he is able to fight me and kill me, then we will be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then you shall be our servants and serve us." He paused, scanning the trembling ranks. "I defy the ranks of Israel this day. Give me a man, that we may fight each other." King Saul gripped the hilt of his sword, his knuckles white, but his feet remained glued to the ground. No one moved. No one breathed. Except for a boy who had just arrived from Bethlehem. David, a shepherd youth with sun-bleached hair and dust still clinging to his tunic, had come to bring provisions to his older brothers. Hearing the giant's blasphemy, a quiet fury had replaced his initial shock. Refusing Saul's heavy, ill-fitting royal armor, which felt like an iron cage on his frame, David walked down to the stream bed. He knelt by the bubbling, shallow water. His fingers sifted through the smooth, water-worn stones, selecting 5 distinct pebbles. He slipped them into his leather shepherd's pouch, picked up his staff, and stepped out onto the valley floor with his sling in hand. Goliath saw movement below and looked down. As his eyes adjusted, a deep rumble of laughter rose from deep within his chest. A boy, a ruddy, unarmed shepherd boy carrying a stick and a pouch. The giant's pride flared into pure, violent rage. He gripped his spear and stepped forward, the ground trembling beneath his iron-shod sandals. "Am I a dog, that you come to me with sticks?" Goliath cursed, his voice dripping with venom. "Come to me, and I will give your flesh to the birds of the air and the beasts of the field." David did not flinch. He walked steadily toward the advancing monolith, his voice cutting through the wind. "You come to me with a sword, with a spear, and with a javelin," David called back, his tone unwavering and clear. "But I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hand, and I will strike you down and take your head from you. And this whole assembly shall know that the Lord does not save with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands." With a roar of absolute fury, Goliath broke into a charge, his massive armor clanking, his shield-bearer scrambling to keep pace. David did not wait. He broke into a sprint toward the giant, his hand diving into his leather pouch. He pulled out a single smooth stone, fitted it swiftly into the leather pocket of his sling, and began to whirl it above his head in a blur of motion. The cord whistled through the air, gathering terrifying velocity. At 30 paces, as the giant raised his heavy iron-tipped spear to hurl it, David loosed the stone. Crack! The sound echoed sharply over the valley. The stone flew with the speed of an arrow, bypassing the glinting bronze helmet to strike Goliath square in the center of his forehead, the only vulnerable spot exposed. The momentum of the giant's charge shattered instantly. His eyes rolled back, his massive frame locking rigid for a fraction of a second before gravity reclaimed him. With a sound like a falling tower, Goliath crashed face first into the earth, his bronze armor denting the soil beneath him. Silence fell over the valley of Elah, a profound, breathless stillness. Then, dropping his sling, David ran forward, drew Goliath's own massive sword from its scabbard, and ended the threat once and for all. Across the ridge, a collective cheer erupted from the Israelite lines as the Philistines broke and ran, realizing their invincible champion had fallen to a shepherd's stone.